That wasn't alright. No, it's why do bad people happen? Why do good things happen to bad people? Bad people don't deserve it. Why do good things happen to bad people? Bad people don't deserve it. That's it. That's your lyric. Hello, Marcy. Are you struggling? I haven't been around much either, to be honest. Apart from going live, that is. Hey, Nicole, my big sister. Well, Marcy, it might be a good thing. It might be a very good thing, but I know nobody likes having operations. Dear me. 6 Fahrenheit, no, not 46 Fahrenheit, that's low. I don't know what it'll be here. It's at the moment it's 18 degrees C, and it's gonna be around 20s, 20, 21. Apparently we've got a storm on the way, so especially Sunday. So Sunday and Monday, it's gonna be a big storm apparently. Storm something, Storm Fiona, I think they called it. Why do they call it names? That is flipping cold. I ain't had that word in ages. But it's a normal average temperature, which is good. Well, good for me anyway. Because I'll be glad when autumn comes. Yes, I hope it goes well. What storm did they call it? I can't remember what they called it. Keeps flashing. Keeps flashing up on my phone. UK heat wave, another one. Whoopee! I cannot wait for that Conjuring movie to come out. And I know the case that they'll work on. Storm Flores. It is. I'm already friended you. Can't get rid of me that easily. But I turn my notification, well, that I'm online. I am online, but I'm not, if that makes sense. No, I need that, and then I'm not finished the rest of it. Sorry. Just trying to get... Oy, 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 oy. Why do bad things happen to bad people? Bad people don't deserve it. Why do bad things happen to good people? people don't deserve it. Who decides this is so unfair? Somebody out there.
This program is about unsolved mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual family members and police officials have participated in recreating the events. What you are about to see is not a news broadcast.
Tonight, on a special 2-hour edition of Unsolved Mysteries. The strange and mysterious saga of the Circleville Letters. For 18 years, residents of a small town in Ohio have been deluged with anonymous death threats, slanderous accusations, and even a lethal booby trap. Many believe this vicious campaign has led to the death of one man and the unjust imprisonment of another. From England, a spellbinding case that's not only in the grand tradition of Agatha Christie, it's about Agatha herself. In 1926, as her marriage was unraveling, the best-selling mystery writer of all time vanished without a trace, leaving the authorities to figure out who done it and why. In December of 1991, 21-year-old Tommy Burkett was found shot to death in his bedroom. Just minutes after arriving at the scene, investigators told Tommy's parents that their son had committed suicide. But now Tommy's mother and father believe they have unearthed a chilling scenario of murder, which may implicate the local police. Legend has it that beneath the remote, chilly waters of Lake Michigan lies a sunken fortune. 5 chests stuffed with gold and bullion worth millions. Tonight we'll join a dangerous underwater quest to find the Poverty Island treasure. Also tonight, we'll take you to the phone center for a very special milestone, the solving of our 200th mystery, and a very special update, the reunion of a GI and the buddy who saved his life in Vietnam. Join me for 2 hours of intriguing cases and a celebration of 200 solved and unsolved mysteries.
see, I'm gonna take that down for a bit, for now, because I don't want you getting bombarded with unwanted requests from certain people.
In December of 1993, Unsolved Mysteries received this postcard. It is not exactly in the vein of our usual viewer mail. The card read, "Forget Circleville, Ohio. Do nothing to hurt Sheriff Radcliffe. If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay. The Circleville Writer." It's not often that we become part of a story we're investigating. But in this case, it didn't come as a total surprise. For the past 18 years, residents in and around Circleville, Ohio, have received literally thousands of bizarre letters and postcards. They represent an insidious campaign of character
Nicole
assassination,
gets me.
which some believe has left one man dead
You get me?
and another unfairly imprisoned.
Nicole gets me.
Circleville, Ohio, 30 miles south of Columbus, is a place that rarely attracts outside attention. In fact, the town's main claim to fame is its annual pumpkin show. For years, Circleville was a stable workaday community. Then in 1976, the letters started.
One of the very first letters, if not the first letter, was received by Mary Gillespie,
Well,
a school bus driver.
poor old guy
telling
didn't
her
get out of bed until
the letter
about
writer was
3
aware that
p.m.
she was having
UK
an
time.
affair with the superintendent of schools and that it had better stop.
So
In addition to
he is
allegations of an
resting.
affair, the letter carried an ominous threat.
I know where you live. I've been observing your house and know you have children. This is no joke. Please take it serious.
The envelope was postmarked Columbus, Ohio. There was no return address outside, no signature inside, no way to tell whether it came from a man or a woman. Within 8 days, Mary Gillespie had received another letter similar in tone. Mary apparently kept the letters to herself until her husband, Ron, received one as well.
All right, I already got 2 of these, okay? And I didn't say anything because it's not true.
What do you
have
mean
to
you
know
got
it's
2
not
of these?
true.
Why didn't you say something?
Because I thought they would just go away. And
And this letter, addressed to Ron Gillespie, told him that if he didn't do something to stop this affair, that his life was undoubtedly in danger.
The alleged affair was a rumor tailor-made to set any small town on its ear. The superintendent of schools and a school bus driver. Soon the anonymous writer is threatening to go public.
Gillespie, you have had 2 weeks and done nothing. Make her admit the truth and inform the school board. If not, I will broadcast it on CBs, posters, signs, and billboards until the truth comes out.
Mary and Ron evidently confided in 3 family members. Ron's sister, her husband Paul Freshour, and Paul's sister.
what was that movie? It was in black and white, where they wrote letters. They thought they knew who the suspects were, so they wrote letters to them.
I know who you are.
Mary had some ideas about who was sending the letters, and she had a plan.
Tell them we know who they are. Okay,
Do it. What are you saying?
just like the letters. We know who you are.
We thought we'd, scare the guy. We did 4 or 5 letters only, nothing, there was no violence in them or anything, just that we knew who he was and what he was doing, and we sent him the letters.
For a while, the plan worked. The threatening letters stopped. Then, on August 19th, 1977, Ron Gillespie got a phone call.
Who is this? No, you listen to me. We're sick of this, okay? No more letters, no more phone calls. We're sick of the whole thing. Just end it, all right?
No one knows what the caller actually said, but the call apparently confirmed Ron's suspicions about the identity of the letter writer.
He told the children he was going out, he was going to confront the letter writer. He took his weapon. He did not seem to be drunk. Said goodbye to his children and went out.
In the heat of the moment, Ron Gillespie ran to the family's red and white pickup, even though the letter writer had often referred to the fact that he or she was watching that truck. Perhaps Ron didn't remember. Perhaps he was too angry to care.
Within a short distance at an intersection that he knew very well, he lost control of the vehicle, hit a tree, and was killed. Somewhere in between leaving the house and hitting that tree, his gun had fired one shot. And there was never any explanation for when or how and whom that gun could have been fired.
Pickaway County Sheriff Dwight Radcliffe, who declined to be interviewed for this story, supposedly investigated and eliminated at least one suspect. He then ruled Ron Gillespie's death an accident. But several Circleville residents soon received anonymous letters saying that Sheriff Radcliffe was perpetrating a cover-up.
First of all, the sheriff agreed with me there was foul play. And then when I contacted him again, he changed his attitude completely. Then he was telling me that it wasn't foul play, that it was a suspect had passed a polygraph test.
Gillespie had 0.16% alcohol, which would in Ohio be 1.5 times the legal limit. Most people I've talked to said that he was not a heavy drinker and were surprised by that kind of finding.
Was Ron Gillespie's death an accident? Was he really drunk that night? And why had one bullet been fired from his handgun? 6 years after the death of Ron Gillespie, the Circleville, Ohio letter writer was still waging his or her vicious campaign. The initial targets, Ron's wife Mary and the superintendent of schools, eventually acknowledged a relationship. But both claimed it had begun after the letters rather than before. Mary was still driving a school bus to support her family. In 1983, the letter writer began to put up signs along her bus route. Finally, Mary's daughter was targeted. Mary Gillespie had enough.
She ripped the sign down. Much to her surprise, behind the sign was this box and some string and also another post that was attached to the fence post. She took it into the bus and she opened up this rather unusual sized box. As she opened it up, there was a small pistol.
On closer examination, Mary realized that it was a crude booby trap designed to fire the gun at her. An amateurish attempt had been made to rub the serial number off the handgun. When lab tests were able to raise it again, the case took an incredible turn. The gun belonged to Mary Gillespie's brother-in-law, Paul Freshour, who had just split up with Ron's sister.
I admitted the gun was mine, but I hadn't seen it for a long time. I had no reason to check up on it or anything, and I don't know when it come up missing. I really don't know what happened to it, and I told him that, and that's the truth. And that's how it was.
On February 25th, 1983, Sheriff Radcliffe called Paul Freshour in for questioning and asked him to take a handwriting test.
We don't have all the answers we'd like to have, Mr. Okay? What I'd like you to do is take this.
Under the impression he was helping to protect another family member, Paul agreed. The sheriff told him only that the missing gun was somehow linked to the Circleville letters.
This is an actual letter. I want you to copy as closely as you can on the pad what you see here. In other words, write what they have written.
He would give me an actual letter and ask me maybe to do the envelope part just as near as I could in the envelope. And then on some, he would take the actual letter out and have me to do them as near as I could on the letters. from what, from right there in front of me. And I did them because I knew I wasn't responsible for the letters. And I knew the evidence would come. And then he dictated letters, and he asked me to, recopy in my mind the same way in this dictation as I had recopied from the actual letters and envelopes.
Everyone is talking.
He made sure that I did them, in the reference of how I'd copied them, because that was very important to him. And I did the best I could and turned everything into it.
That is not the proper way to test to see if someone has a certain writing style, because if they're copying from a letter, they're going to try to emulate the style. So, and the experts said that the testing was improper. So they didn't really say that these letters were written by Paul Freshour. They said that they could have been.
My pardon's mess, but I usually try to keep it a little cleaner than this.
After the handwriting test, the still unsuspecting Paul Freshour took Sheriff Radcliffe to his garage.
Sometimes I used to keep it up here, and then on top of the refrigerator.
Paul showed the sheriff where he had kept his gun. Afterwards, the two men returned to the courthouse.
He called in the prosecutor and told the prosecutor there was my writing on the booby trap. And then the prosecutor is the one that actually told me that there was a booby trap found, and I was under arrest for attempted murder and placed on a $50,000 cash bond.
On October 24th, 1983, Paul Freshour went on trial for the attempted murder of his sister-in-law, Mary Gillespie. Even though Paul wasn't charged with writing the threatening letters, they became a crucial part of the evidence against him. What you are about to hear is verbatim testimony from court transcripts.
And did you explain to the handwriting analyst how you went about obtaining the samples?
Yes, I did.
And did he indicate which part of these he would actually use in his analysis?
The ones we dictated were the ones that would be used for comparison, not the ones he copied.
It is my opinion that the handwriting on the envelopes, documents, and postcards were printed by the same person, it being the known handwriting, or hand printing, of Paul Freshour.
Have you, at any time, suspected the defendant of being the one responsible for writing these letters and putting these signs up?
Not at first.
Well, when was your first indication that you had where someone indicated that it could possibly be him?
It was August of 1982, and his wife came to see me and indicated it might be a possibility.
This is the weekly time record for Paul Freshour for the week ending 2/12/83.
And what days was Paul Freshour working that week?
Mr. Freshour worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the week.
Did he work Monday?
No, he did not.
And
The Monday in question was the very day that Mary Gillespie had found the sign and booby trap. Even though Paul Freshour had an alibi for almost the entire day, he never took the stand in his own defense. It was a decision which Paul would come to regret.
We, the jury, find the defendant Paul L. Freshour guilty of attempted murder. We further find and specify that the defendant did have the firearm under his control.
I couldn't believe it. I was just in shock. I know they put in some good evidence, and there was evidence withheld, but still yet, I can't blame the jury, because the jury didn't hear all the evidence. But I just couldn't believe it. I was really in shock. And I was probably in shock for a year after I was in prison. Unbelievable.
Paul Freshour was given the maximum sentence for attempted murder, 7 to 25 years. Everyone assumed Paul had written the Circleville letters, and everyone assumed that with Paul behind bars, the letters would stop. Everyone was wrong.
They were being received all over a large area of central Ohio. So a lot of people couldn't understand how Paul Freshour could be mailing all these letters from prison.
Following repeated complaints from Sheriff Radcliffe, Paul was placed in solitary confinement. Still, the letters continued. All of them were postmarked Columbus, even though Paul was imprisoned in Lima, Ohio, 200 miles away.
You go into a single-man cell, and that's it. You know, it's nothing in there with you. No pencils, no papers, no nothing. Restrictions, you wouldn't believe. Pat down, cell searches, visit monitoring, mail in, going out, going mail, always examined and tested. And maybe some days I'd get my mail, maybe some days I wouldn't.
We have, of course, reviewed your file in preference to your visit with us today. And although we find some nice things about you in the file, there are also some things that concern us a great deal.
After 7 years in prison, Paul Freshour became eligible for parole. In the weeks preceding his hearing, the volume of anonymous letters increased dramatically. Despite the Columbus postmarks, the letters worked against Paul. He was denied parole, even though he was universally regarded as a model prisoner. A few days later, the letter writer sadistically wrote a letter to Paul himself.
Now, when are you going to believe you aren't going to get out of there? I told you 2 years ago, when we set them up, they stay set up. Don't you listen at all? No one wants you out. No one. The joke is on you. Ha, ha.
Full-scale investigations were conducted twice, possibly 3 times, during which Paul Freshour was put into isolation, and the warden of the prison he was in during one of these investigations then wrote a letter to Paul's wife saying that as far as he was concerned, it was impossible for Paul to be writing these letters and sending them from prison.
When Martin Yap reviewed the sheriff's investigative file, he uncovered evidence never
cool.
mentioned at the trial, which he believes might have kept Paul Freshour out of prison altogether.
Mary Gillespie told the sheriff that one of the other bus drivers told her that she had been driving that same road about 20 minutes before Mary Gillespie found that booby trap at exactly that site. And when she went by that very same intersection, there was a yellow El Camino parked there. A large man with sandy hair was standing there. When he saw her come, he turned around and acted like he was going to the bathroom or something, but seemed also to be avoiding any kind of identification. The description of the individual does not fit Paul Freshour at all, and Paul had a very solid alibi for this time of day. There was no attempt at all to follow up on that lead. And if they had, as I say, they would have found that another possible suspect in this case had a brother who had a yellow El Camino.
In May of 1994, Paul Freshour was finally granted parole after serving 10 years. To this day, he staunchly maintains his innocence, and he is sure that the real criminal is still at large.
I'd really like to see someone really look at this case on the letters. Reopen the letter part of it and get in and find out who wrote the letters. I'd also like to see someone look into this, to my former brother-in-law's death. Look, that's not my family anymore, and that's my past. I'm not even gonna look back at it. I've got a new family and a new future, but I still would like to see someone look at that accident real close in the letters.
How you doing, Rocket?
That's what I really ask.
So many questions remain in this most bizarre case. Who did write the Circleville letters? At whom did Ron Gillespie fire his gun? Did that person kill Ron? Who was responsible for the booby trap found by Mary Gillespie? And finally, who stole Paul Freshour's pistol?
Not great, no.
When we return, Agatha
Yeah,
Christie,
that's
the world's
all
most
right.
renowned mystery writer, becomes a focal point of her own tantalizing unsolved mystery. In 1823, the poet Lord Byron wrote, "Truth is always strange, stranger than fiction." Just over a century later, the great mystery writer Agatha Christie, author of such famous novels as Murder on the Orient Express and 10 Little Indians, would prove that Byron was right. You see, when Agatha was 36 years old, she became the subject of her own real-life unsolved mystery, demonstrating that truth is not only stranger than fiction, often is directly related. On the morning of December 4th, 1926, Agatha Christie's car was found abandoned, about an hour's drive from her home on the outskirts of London. Agatha had apparently vanished into thin air, but some suspected the worst, that her husband Archie had done her in.
The press was fascinated, so was the public. Agatha was a famous woman. She was known to be a mistress of mysteries. This was a real-life mystery.
The story was taken up with great glee by newspapers around England. What had become of Agatha Christie? How could one of the most well-known women in the country have disappeared off the face of the earth? She was born Agatha Miller in 1890. Her father was a wealthy American, her mother a proper British lady. Agatha was raised in the moneyed upper middle class of English society. In 1914, Agatha broke an existing engagement to marry Colonel Archibald Christie, a dashing pilot in the Royal Flying Corps. Archie had pursued Agatha aggressively, even though many thought they were opposites in every way.
Everybody tells them it's a bad idea. It's the war. They get married on Christmas Day. And he immediately goes off to a very, very traditional and romantic tale.
While Archie was fighting in the skies over France, Agatha worked as a nurse and in her spare time launched a writing career, creating the famous Belgian detective H. Hercule Poirot. Agatha's first book, published 4 years after the war, is called The Mysterious Affair at Styles.
That first book was a sensation. She didn't expect anything like that. And nobody expected it from a rather plump, placid, ordinary-looking girl. She hit the jackpot straight away.
The next 3 or 4 books did a little better each time. And then with her 5th book, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, she really hits the big time.
In 1926, Agatha, Archie, and the young daughter Rosalind moved into a mansion which they named Styles after Agatha's first novel. Archie had been successful in his own right, a retired war hero turned investment banker. On the surface, the Christies looked like the picture-perfect family.
Archie was a real stockbroker. He was a British, proper, upper-crust, boring man who looked good. He was extremely conventional.
Playing golf at the weekend. Care to join me?
I don't believe I can.
That's your way.
Agatha looked conventional, but inside she wasn't. Inside, she wanted more.
Later in 1926, when Agatha's mother Clara died, the strained civility of Agatha and Archie's marriage cracked.
Agatha was absolutely distraught for the death of the mother. I think she had really never left the mother's side, and this is possibly one of the reasons why the marriage wasn't a great success. That she still remained very much a family girl. And when the mother died, it really unhinged her a bit.
Agatha took Rosalind and her nanny to Ashfield, a rambling Edwardian home where Agatha had grown up. Ostensibly, the move was temporary, to sort through her late mother's possessions, but it dragged on for weeks. Archie stayed away. Agatha's grief for her mother was too deep to fathom.
At 36, I think most women would mourn their mothers. But with Agatha Christie, it wasn't just sorrow. It was something approaching melancholia. It was an almost pathological condition, I think. And so she lived at Ashfield in this terrible sense of disorientation, physical stress, with no one to confide in, looking forward to the point when Archie would come down and celebrate with her their daughter's birthday.
Agatha, please do sit down. The birthday celebration did not play out as Agatha had hoped.
Agatha, I want you to give me a divorce.
A divorce?
That's what I want.
No, Archie. Absolutely not. Never.
That's what I want, Agatha. I will not be moved.
It seemed that Archie had become involved with a woman named Nancy Neal.
Well, this was absolutely devastation for her. She had been betrayed. She never thought that a man could do this to her. I think she would have even lived with Archie having a mistress. But the fact that he wanted to divorce her destroyed her.
In a last-ditch effort to save her marriage, Agatha took Rosalind and moved back home.
I think you should stay at Styles this weekend, Archie. We could spend some time alone together.
Excuse me.
On December 3rd, 1926, Archie took off alone, bound for a weekend house party. By some accounts, Archie and Agatha argued bitterly before he left. Agatha must have suspected that he planned to rendezvous with Nancy Neal. With Archie gone, Agatha was left to stew in her own misery.
Either at 9:30 at night or around 11 o'clock at night, according to different reports, she left the house in something of a state. The maids were alarmed by the way she went out. We know that she took with her a small traveling case and that she wore her fur coat.
Agatha left behind at least 2 notes. One was addressed to her secretary, asking that she cancel Agatha's weekend appointments. Another of unknown content was addressed to Archie.
Show me what you got, Constable.
The next morning, Agatha's abandoned car was found just an hour's drive from Styles.
Again, the exact time seems to be in doubt. It had gone off the side of the road. It was not turned over. There had been no big accident.
A local man found the car on his way to work.
How is everybody
License was in
doing?
her case. That's how we managed Mrs. Christie. Her coat's still in the car, sir.
Whole night to be out without a coat.
Very cold indeed, sir.
This is her luggage, sir.
One small bag.
3 dresses, 2 pairs of shoes, and this, sir.
Very nice, thank you, Constable.
Archie Christie had been tracked down at his house party. He made an unfortunate appearance at the very moment the authorities were beginning to suspect foul play.
Superintendent,
Well, Christie?
who are all these people?
Oh, just the curious.
They've got to be here.
Too late to stop them now, sir. They know the gist of it already.
Colonel Christie, have you any idea where your wife might be?
No, sir, none. I haven't a clue.
Pardon me for asking, but, where were you last night?
I
was
haven't got
away.
a clue.
At friends.
I haven't got a clue what it is.
Yes, Superintendent, I was.
I've done the bottom bit. And now I'm doing the tree areas.
Excuse me, sorry to bother you. Just one question about Colonel Christie. Just one question. Was the Colonel asking for a
The press had already gotten wind of the event.
Away from the house and keep these...
The superintendent went to Styles to question Agatha's secretary and other staff members. No one was able to shed any light on Agatha's strange disappearance.
Have you spoken to the staff?
Yes, sir, I have.
The police launched vigorous attempts to find a body. There is
one sec. There you go. Ow. Smudges in the window. Oh. Yeah. Now she's in the window, I think. Let me have a look. Yeah, she's in the window.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, smudgy.
Mhm.
How would it help? I already know what it is. I saw one piece of it and I know what it is.
There she is.
Hey? You are?
Yeah, well, don't say anything.
I won't. I saw one piece of the puzzle and I knew what it was. There was a text in there.
but he won't say which piece. You're just gonna have to wait and see. And that was cheating, Rocket. Mr. Rocket. Oh, dear me. Well, it's some good puzzle because I am sort of winging my way through it, as they say. Okey-doke.
all my inks had gone. This is a replace them all.
It's weird.
I know. Look. I was running with the black.
Oh boy.
I know. I opened the wrong bottle of black and it went everywhere.
Oh boy.
I'm getting somewhere with it.
Yeah. I think I'll about do it for now.
Well, she got some done. We got all the trees, the hard bits, do we?
Yeah, that's the hard. I think that's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
But I've managed to do the bottom bit. But there you go. Right, I'm gonna call it, and I shall see you guys later on. Thank you so much for joining us, and take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Lots of love. Bye, everybody.